Welcome to the Ultimate Intimacy Podcast. Oh, yeah, with Nick and Amy. We appreciate you listening.
Oh, good intro.
Did that
Good
sound
intro.
like ultimate intimacy or
I have
what?
no idea what ultimate intimacy sounds like,
Okay.
but sure. Sure. Today we're diving in quick today. Today's a good one. I think that this really has been a struggle in our marriage, slash, still always going to be something that we have to work on big time in our own relationship. So,
And I don't think we're any different than probably most of the couples
right,
out there with
right.
this.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, so we're going to be speaking about different love languages. When you have opposite love languages in your marriage, I don't know that any of them are like actually opposite. I don't know if that's the right word. Opposite meaning different.
They're just totally different.
Just
Yeah.
totally different, right? So I think Nick has said it plenty of times. Like he can't speak a different language to me and like I'm going to understand it. He could just speak all day long and I would be like, I don't know what you're saying. And that sometimes happens with the way we feel loved.
For sure.
And some people
No
are against the
question.
love languages. Some people think they should be different. Some people are super for them. I mean, there's books on it. I think it's legit.
Oh,
I think
I
it's legit.
100%. I absolutely feel the same way you do. I think it's vital to know your spouse's love language
And your own.
and your own, and then do something about it, right?
Right.
Because
Right.
you are exactly right. It's just like speaking a different language. If I'm and so often we assume that because we feel a certain way that that's how our spouse should feel, right? Like
Right.
if my love language is physical touch, I think that's probably a shock to most of
Mhm.
you, but it is. And
No way.
so naturally, I'm going to assume like, oh, this is what I need. Naturally, I'm going to assume that's what she needs, and that is not what she needs.
I don't know why. I
No,
don't know
that's okay.
why.
And
I know. I'm just
don't
saying, like, I,
well, hold
we'll
on.
get into this.
And I want to say this, don't feel like that's a bad thing, right?
Right.
Like you don't need to apologize for that, right?
Right.
Like if your spouse is totally different, that's not something you should have to apologize
Mhm.
for, or that we're just different, and that
Mhm.
is totally okay. The key is once you understand your love language and
That's
each
true.
other's and your spouse's, then what are you going to do about it?
What
Right?
are you gonna do about it? So we're gonna break this into like three sections today. The first section we're gonna do, let's start with examples of like what it looks like when two spouses have totally different love languages, okay? And then we're gonna share 10 facts that we've researched um, about having different love languages. Like, see, like it's pretty normal. Like things like
Oh,
that
for
being like,
sure.
okay, we're actually like pretty normal. And then we're going to share a few questions that we've received over the years about having opposite love languages in marriage and just try to answer them how we would answer them. And yeah, hopefully cover this topic because like I feel like I mean we've been married 23 years. I feel like it's been a real communication challenge slash unselfish challenge to try and give something that you're not naturally maybe good at or you don't understand or I don't know, it's hard to give something that you don't need,
Well,
right?
and I think this is one of the areas where we are pretty close to experts on in
Really?
love language. Yeah,
I would not say I'm an expert in any way because I still have to be like, okay, I gotta touch him today. I gotta touch him.
well, okay. Being an expert though doesn't mean we're always like perfect at it. It just means we understand and we try to
We've
do better,
talked
right?
about it a
We talk
lot,
about it a
a
lot.
lot.
We still talk about it.
Yeah.
And how often do we hear, like, I'll just throw it out, like a wife reach out to us and say, man, my husband just doesn't know what I need. He doesn't
Hmm.
understand how I feel loved from him. And,
Right.
or vice versa,
Vice
right?
versa. Oh,
So,
absolutely vice versa.
and
Because
it can be
yeah.
really frustrating because, again, if that's the way you feel loved, and they could be doing a million other
Hmm.
things. But if you aren't doing the things the way your spouse feels loved, all those other things don't mean anything. They
Right.
almost could feel like maybe they're a little selfish, like, oh, that's just what he wants, right?
Right. Oh, for
When in
sure.
reality, he's trying to do things for you or she's trying to do things for you, but it just doesn't matter. And I've said this before, like I am not really a gifts person, right? So Amy could literally go out and just buy me a bunch of stuff and I'd be like, "Oh, that's nice." But that is not going to
What if it's shoes,
help
though?
me understand. Well, maybe that's not going to help me understand or feel loved, right? Like she could shower me with gifts and things like that. I'm like, it's very nice of her, but I don't feel loved that way.
Hmm.
So,
But if I touch him,
oh,
different story, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna just share a few examples, okay? Wife's perspective in this one, acts of service versus physical touch. That would be us
Hmm.
to the T. Wife is cooking dinner and cleaning up after a long day. The husband keeps hugging and giving her affection, touching her while she's cooking, etc. She appreciates touch, but really, what really makes her feel loved is when he notices and just starts doing things like chopping vegetables, setting the table, or washing dishes without being asked. When he does this, her stress melts away and she feels truly cared for.
So, how did you feel yesterday? Because I was like a total rock star
Dude, he was a
yesterday.
rock star yesterday. And I was kind of stressed. I'm not sure why. When he steps in to help without being asked, both spouses feel supported, appreciated, and emotionally connected. So there's been a viral video of that marriage accounts have been doing where the wife is literally doing something in the kitchen or whatever, and he's just like all over her, and she's just sitting here like, I just really wish he would just walk over there and do the dishes. That's how I would feel loved. But for him, he just wants that affection. So it just shows you like it's really important to understand, okay, my wife doesn't feel loved when I'm all over her. I'm sure she feels desired. I'm sure that's a great thing for her. But if there's a whole sink of dishes, she might feel even more loved if I go over there and start doing something that's taking something, not saying her plate, because it's not her plate. But you know what I mean? Like it could be lots of different situations.
Yeah, so here's the other important thing about understanding each other's love language. So I'm physical touch. So just exactly what Amy described. If I go in the kitchen, I start hugging her.
Grab on my butt.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not her love language, right? So what if she's like, "Oh my goodness, leave me the freak alone," right? Like what is that
Sometimes
gonna
that
and
happens.
sometimes that happens, but what is that gonna do? Like how we react to our
Right.
spouse's love language or I guess affection of that love
I love
language.
that you brought up the word react because if I push you away and I'm like, stop touching me, can't you see that there's stuff to be done? He's instantly going to feel super unloved because that's his love language,
Or
right?
I'm going to feel like something's wrong with me. Like, this
Right.
is the way I feel. This is the way I show love. Why am I getting not only rejected, but basically
Mhm.
told, you got something wrong with you, right?
So yeah, so this is why understanding that you're probably different love languages is like literally crucial. Because if you walk in the kitchen and you can grab my butt, but then you go straight to the sink because you know that like it needs to be done and that's acts of service is my love language, that changes everything, right? And then if the wife comes over to the husband when he's doing something that she loves that's been done and grabs his butt or hugs him and just says, "Thank you so much for doing that," both spouses are feeling loved right there,
For sure. And the second
right?
thing I'll point out too, sorry,
No, you're good.
I'm going to be long-winded, is, a lot of times we hear the excuse, or a wife will say, well, I don't need sex. Let's just use that in this example, right? I don't need sex, therefore we're not having it, right? It's so important to understand that just because like we don't feel a certain way doesn't mean that it's not important to our spouse. And so like we said, like just totally dismissing, and we don't need to understand why our spouse feels a certain way. And I want to hit on that
Mhm.
hard. We don't need to understand why they feel that way. We just need to, what's the word I'm trying to use? We don't need to understand the reasons why they feel that way. All we need to do is know that that's the way they feel. And if they feel that way,
Mhm.
then it's important, right?
Right.
It doesn't,
Well, you can argue with feelings, right?
yeah, like I don't understand like what some of Amy's needs are or why she has those needs, but they're important to her, so that's all that really
If a
matters.
gift is really meaningful and he hates stuff, like just stuff in general, he's gonna be like, "Why is this meaningful to you? This is
It's a
this is
great
dumb.
example.
That's
Yeah, I
dumb,
don't care
right?
about
Why would I
gifts.
need a stupid present?"
So just
But to a
because,
present to a woman or anybody that has that love language is like, it's not the present, it's the thought you put behind it. It's that you went out and got something. It's that you thought about me. Like gift usually has like a bigger meaning, but your spouse might not understand that, right?
yeah, but
So,
so many times that's a great example. Just because gifts are important to me, it
right.
takes a lot of effort for me to go out and get a gift for her because I'm just like, I don't understand why gifts are important, but because it's important to her, that's all that should matter.
Right, right. Okay, here's another one. Quality time versus words of affirmation. The husband wants verbal reassurance, such as a thank you so much or you're amazing, while the wife is multitasking or focusing on kids. Even when he helps with tasks, he feels emotionally disconnected. Without those affirming words ever being given, he may start to look unappreciated or feel unappreciated and overlooked. So the opportunity here is when she pairs a few affirming words with shared time together, he feels recognized, values, loved, and it just strengthens both people's connection with each other, right? So if words of affirmation are something that's really important to your husband and he does something like say thank you or appreciation, like it's really simple.
And the common thing we hear is, well, they should know how I feel. I shouldn't have to tell them. We've actually had people tell us, I don't need to tell them, or I don't need to tell her. They should already know that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you should remind them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's important. Okay, gifts versus acts of service. Wife comes home from exhausted after a long day. The husband surprises her with a small gift or treat. She smiles and appreciates it, but she's still unloading groceries, tidying up, and managing household tasks, trying to get dinner ready. What really makes her feel loved is when he notices what needs to be done and takes an initiative. So, like in this situation, he's like, I'm such a perfect guy. Here, I got you a little present. And she's like, gifts maybe aren't my love language. Like, I would love you. I'm overwhelmed. Maybe she just got home from work. She's like, it would have been great. Instead of buying me something, you literally maybe started dinner. Something like that. And it could go both ways, right? That's just an example.
For
But
sure.
I think when you understand your spouse, when you really try to understand your spouse, I feel like the other language should just be caring. Like, I feel like number one is caring. Like, you have to care that you're speaking your spouse's love language, which is really hard to do when you just don't understand it, right? Okay, so I don't want to just keep, I think everyone gets the examples,
Sure.
but let's jump into surprising facts with different love languages. So, number one, over half the people have no primary love language. So these are all backed up. I looked all these up in different resources. A study found that more than 50% of participants couldn't identify a single primary love language, suggesting that many individuals express and receive love in multiple ways.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I agree with that. So if you take the quiz, so if you didn't know, we have the Ultimate Intimacy app. There's a free mini love quiz on there. If you don't want to go take the full intensive one online, which is pretty long, take the mini one. At least just get an idea of what your love language is or what your spouse's love language is, right? So go to Love Quiz. And for the most part, if you take it a couple times, you might be dominant. But I found that like acts of service or sometimes gifts or sometimes depending on what I'm like, maybe we're missing in our marriage, and we'll talk about that. What I'm kind of getting too much of, I feel like I don't need anymore, and then it changes. So jumping on that and just finding out kind of, I mean, if you take it a couple times and it keeps coming up as the same things, you're probably pretty dominant. But most women like, oh, I would love some quality time with you. Today I could really use some acts of service.
Yeah.
And we found from doing a lot of surveys on our Instagram stories, we usually get a few thousand people taking our polls, but husbands are more dominantly physical touch. Yeah. So, but it can look different to everyone. So I thought that was interesting that there's not usually just one love language.
Well, and you point out something that I think is really important too, is a lot of times, I'm always providing Amy physical touch, whether she wants it or not.
Because that's his love language, right?
But she doesn't have a physical touch need, but maybe that's because I'm already providing that. So, we've talked about it. I'm like, what if I were to just completely cut you off?
I'd probably want it more.
Probably be like, yeah, let's,
I would notice it, and all of a sudden I would answer the questions on the quiz differently, right?
Yeah, so a lot of times we may not look like we have love language, but maybe that's because those needs are already being met, right? So when you're taking the quiz and you're like, well, yeah, I don't need this because my spouse is already doing all that, or, so that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot in our marriage. Just he's like, why aren't you physical touch? I'm like, I think it's because you give me so much of it. I haven't really thought about needing it because it's not lacking.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah, and I totally agree.
But some people really are not physical touch people. Like I have a daughter, and she's like, don't hug me. She like
stay away,
and I'm just like, what the heck? All my other kids like a big hug or whatever. She's like. She like gets all weird cold, and I'm like, okay, you are not a physical touch person. That's okay.
That's okay. Yeah.
So figure out what your spouse is. Fact number 2: opposite love languages can actually boost your relationship satisfaction. Why do you think that is?
I agree because, well, think if you both have the same love language,
right?
Right. It might seem great at first, but
It
I
might.
think over time it could get complicated. But
Mhm.
I think having different love languages, it really pulls you out and makes you focus more on acts of service and really think about, okay, how do I show my spouse how much I love them and what are the things I can do for them? So I think it allows you an opportunity to look for opportunities to serve them.
You said exactly what I was going to say, and I put that in the title of this podcast. It creates opportunities.
Hmm.
So it's not just an opportunity to serve your spouse in a different way, it's also an opportunity to communicate on a deeper level.
Yeah,
And I think we
agreed.
have to look at that like, okay, we're opposites. I think that has brought us closer together because we've had to have so many discussions about it. Like constant
Yeah, we do.
discussions,
Yep.
constant, not just like we had a conversation, now we're good. It's like always changing, right?
Well, and when you talk about it, I think early on in our marriage, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you probably just assumed, why is the sex drive so high? What,
Uh,
it's all just physical. It's all just physical. In fact, I feel like at the first of our marriage, you thought that way, right? And as we've had these deep
the
conversations and,
first one, oh, mine was higher than I probably didn't think about it.
well, okay, whenever the time was, but I think for a while you probably thought, oh, his needs are just all physical, right? And I think over time you've learned that
Yeah,
it's not
it's
just
deeper,
physical,
right?
it's deeper than that. It's emotional. And the more you
Mhm.
talk about things, the more you learn like, oh, yeah, I didn't think of it that way. This is why, or this is why. And you have that communication and you start learning each other on a deeper level. And then you
Mhm.
start being more connected on a deeper level.
Absolutely. I think it's interesting too when you have these discussions. It's like, well, how did you grow up? What did you see? What did you get from your family? What makes you the way that you are? What do you think makes you have that low? Like, I don't know. It creates a lot
Oh,
of
for sure.
conversation that you can also find on the app. Like, why is this your love language? I wonder why. Kind of deep dive a little
You're
bit. It's
exactly
kind of
right. Yeah,
fun.
because of experiences we
Yep.
may or may not have gone through.
Okay, here's another fact. Number three. Um,
Spitting facts.
Quality time is the most popular love language. In the US, quality time is the most preferred love language chosen by 31.5% of individuals. Um, I don't know that these were just married couples, but the article I read was more just like people in general.
Well,
So, and I don't know the year that that was taken, but I'm wondering, just looking at that stat, if it's because of phones and distractions. I wonder if people are like, I need more quality time because nobody's really getting that
Well,
anymore.
and I agree, but think of quality time, right? Like, so when you're dating, what happens when you're dating and spending time together?
It's quality.
It's quality,
It's
right? You're
quality.
having deeper conversations.
Right.
You're probably attracted more intimately to each other, like your romance
Right.
and all that. And
Right.
I mean, just I think quality time is going to allow almost every other aspect of all the other love languages to start happening
Hmm.
more often as well. If you're never around to spend time with each other,
Right.
nothing's going to ever happen with the other love
Right.
languages as
Right.
well. So.
Right. No, good point. Um, Number four was receiving gifts is the least common love languages. Only 7% of Americans took this poll. Receiving gifts was their primary love languages, making it the least common.
That's interesting. I wonder if it's
I
because,
think we just buy what we want
yeah,
nowadays.
that's
Like,
what I
I
was
just
gonna
kind of feel
say.
like we're a consumer society, and if we need something, we get on Amazon and we buy it. So I wonder if people are like not putting the heart and mind into like thoughtful gifts anymore, and so that's kind of dying. That's my
Or,
thought.
or they're like, I don't know if I want you to buy me a gift. I opened up that pair of underwear last time. You know what I mean? Like we get gifts, so we're like,
Well, after 23
I'd
years,
rather.
I mean, I don't know what to buy you anymore.
No, and I'm the
We
same
buy
way.
what
Like
we
it's funny.
need, you know?
Like I would never go buy any certain things because I 100% agree
Yeah,
with you
and I'm
there on
like, I don't
things.
really want you to. Number five fact is opposite love languages are common in long-term relationships. Many long-term couples discover they have opposite love languages, which can lead to deeper understanding and connection, which we kind of already talked
Yep,
about.
yep, so true.
Number six was understanding opposite love languages requires so much effort. This is because you're really trying to meet each other's emotional needs, that which can really strengthen the relationship. Because, like you said, there's an emotional reason behind someone needing a certain love language.
So many marriages and so many people want less effort, right?
Right.
And I love what
Easy.
that just said. The more effort you put in, the deeper the connection. And I think
Right.
that's designed for that way for a reason,
Mhm.
right? Like
Right.
anything we do or anything we love or appreciate, the like
Hmm.
It's almost like the harder the effort, the more we appreciate things.
Agreed. Agreed. Number 7 was love languages can change over time. A person's love language, primary love language, can evolve due to life experiences, personal growth, or changes in the relationship or stage of life. So, totally agree with that. When we first got married, it was gifts. And then I had little kids and it was acts of service. And I don't know, somewhere in there, maybe more quality time, back to acts of service. I don't know. I feel like mine, I don't know that yours have ever changed.
Mine's just increased.
Physical touch, physical
Mine
touch, physical touch.
I went from physical touch,
More physical
to
touch.
more physical touch to more physical. I know something's wrong with me. I always joke around. I'm like, man, I'm gonna be 50 here soon. And like my libido is like skyrocketing.
Oh, I need to get some Diagra.
Like, what's going on?
Opposite love languages can enhance emotional intimacy. It's what you already said. I don't know why I repeated that one. Next one is communication is key in navigating opposite love languages. Already talked about that, but we have had, how many conversations do you think we've had in 23 years about the love languages?
A lot. Yeah.
100?
Amy would love to say this episode is sponsored by Diagra.
No, I can't say that. So many wives that are getting rejected would be so mad at me.
I'm just teasing. They know I'm joking.
The last one is opposite love language can lead to not just marriage growth, but personal growth. And I think that as people, and especially when we're married, we have to learn how to expand, be unselfish, be more giving, be more serving. I think it makes us more Christ-like, is what I would say. I think like when you're opposite, you're like, I have to learn how to serve you better. You're just being a more Christ-like person. I mean, that's what marriage is all about, right?
Yeah, and like society teaches us that that's like the wrong thing to do now, but I don't know why. Like when you first date, like you're wanting to do just everything for each other and show each other that you care about them. And why does all that sudden that change when you get married? I mean, I think it should even get stronger when you get married, right?
It should, yeah. I just think we're getting more selfish in life. I don't know what's causing it, but
Amy and I talk about this all the time, like, and not saying this negative, but a lot of times we're like, how is it only 50% of people that are getting divorced, right? Because marriage can be very, very tough. And yeah, we know a lot of people are no longer getting married and things like that. And but just simply like serving each other and trying to understand each other and recognizing that differences are good. Like I think we often look at being different as a bad thing. Oh, we're just too different. It can't work, right?
Right.
Like, no, being different is a good thing. You both bring different assets and value and different things to the relationship. And I think the love language is the same thing. Like I can say Amy and I have totally different love languages, but I mean, the more we talked about, the more deeper we get and talk about them, like the more our marriage grows closer to each other and flourishes. Like it doesn't grow apart just because we have different love languages.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's just having those conversations. Like, why do you feel loved? Why do you feel loved through this? What can I do better at doing this for you? What does that mean to you behind it? Like, I don't know, just deeper, right? When you find out like physical touch, this is why I love it so much, and you have that deep conversation, like that really opens up some awesome connecting experiences between the two of you. Okay, so we're gonna jump into just a few questions that we got from our audience on opposite love languages, okay? Can a marriage survive if our love languages are total opposite? I think we already answered that.
Yeah, not only
Absolutely.
and I don't like the word survive. Like I would say thrive. Your marriage can absolutely thrive, even if your love languages are completely different. In fact, you're probably more likely to thrive if your love languages are different. You just have to talk about it.
Absolutely. How do I figure out my spouse's love language when it's the opposite of mine?
You talk about it. You take the quiz.
Take the quiz.
You ask questions like, why do you feel this way, or what makes you feel most loved?
Right.
And your spouse is absolutely going to tell you, well, this is what makes me feel loved.
And be honest when you answer that. That is key.
And don't just assume that you know what their love language is.
What do I do if showing love in my spouse's opposite love language feels really unnatural to me? That I don't know, I'm trying to think of a good situation here. Acts of service is probably pretty common. Words of affirmation. Sometimes it's really, okay, this is a good one. I am not very good at complimenting. Nick could probably agree with this. I don't know. I don't need compliments, so I have a hard time giving them. Like when he's like, "Oh, you look so lovely today." I'm like, "Thanks." Thanks. Like I don't know. It doesn't like it makes me feel good, but I don't feel like it's needed. And so I have a harder time throwing them out, and I really struggle with that. And it's not that his love language is words of affirmation,
Mhm.
but it's still nice to give. So I could do better. But it is unnatural. So I think the answer would be like you have to just start doing it so that it becomes natural.
Well, and again, I think getting back to that question, like, um, we don't need to know the answer. Sometimes we're not going to know the reason why our spouse feels this
But
way.
how do you do it when it's not natural? Like I found myself like he's physical touch and I'm not a physical touch person. So I have to think, okay, I'm sitting like when I'm sitting in church, I try to get into a habit of just like, okay, we're just sitting here. I'm gonna try and rub his back. Or
Oh,
simple things like that. Or when we're laying in bed watching a movie, he's good at reaching for my hand, but I'm gonna hold his hand. Like as long as he wants me to hold his hand. Like those things, I think the more you do it, the more common and natural it starts to feel. So sometimes it's just like you just gotta
yeah, I
start
think
doing it.
that's great.
If you put like a reminder on your phone, or if, I know that sounds insane, but like my spouse's love language is gifts. So on Tuesday, I'm gonna go to the store and buy him something that I know would be meaningful and put it in your calendar. Or every morning you have a reminder, which the Ultimate Intimacy has some awesome daily challenges on to kind of work with all the love languages. So if you get that reminder daily, it's like do something sweet for your spouse. You're gonna get the reminder, you're like, okay, I'm not thinking about physical touch, but I'm gonna go give my spouse a great big hug right now. And I think the more you start doing those things, the more it just turns into habit,
Well, and
right?
I think in that it said uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Okay, you just
Unnatural.
unnatural.
Yeah.
Okay, probably the same thing as
Yeah.
unnatural,
Yeah.
uncomfortable. You just answer the question. I think it's no different than going and trying a sport or something for the first time. And at first, we feel totally out of
Right.
place. We feel totally awkward. The more you practice or do something, the more comfortable it becomes.
Right.
That's no different. You could, whether it's holding hands or whatever that is, the more you do it, the more natural it's going to become. And
Right.
the more you're going to enjoy life and enjoy each other by doing
Mhm.
those things because it's going to make your spouse happy.
Absolutely. I think like once you start seeing a shift in the happiness in your marriage and with your spouse and like just the unity in your entire relationship, I think it makes it more natural to be like, I want to do this. Even
Well,
though it might be hard for me or not normal for me, like I want to do this because I see the feelings in our marriage just turn around.
and we can't confuse like uncomfortable something or unnatural or uncomfortable with being wrong, right? It's just maybe it's different to us because
We're just not used to it.
we're not used to
We're
it.
just
Yeah.
not used to it. Okay, here's a good question. We got a couple more. Do opposite love languages affect sexual intimacy and how can we overcome that?
So
I'll tell you why it 100% affects sexual intimacy. Let's go back to the kitchen statement that we talked about. He starts grabbing my butt. I'm trying to cook dinner. I really just wish he'd go to the dishes or do something, right? Rather than be all over me because I'm not a physical touch person. The way I react to that is are you going to put both of us in a bad mood or both of us in a good mood? Like how you react. I'm so glad you brought up the word react because if I said, honey, I love you too, and give him a big hug, but I'm like, hey, is there any way you could just go do some of this over here and get that done for me? I'm really trying to get dinner ready. That right there brings unity, which
hmm
is going to impact your intimate night or the intimacy, sexual intimacy in your week that week, like your whole mood, right? If I get it's like stop touching me, he's gonna start feeling resentment. You're gonna feel bugged. The attitude in your mind is like, I don't want him touching me
Yeah.
later. He's bugging me right now. I mean, a woman's sex drive all starts in her brain, right? So attitude, how you learn to talk, how to treat each other, how to touch each other, how to react when you're in those situations absolutely affects your
Yeah,
intimate life.
and I think reaction is the key.
It is the key.
How do you
It is the
react to
key.
it?
Right. Okay, last question. How do I avoid feeling resentful when I keep giving in my language, but my spouse has the opposite one? I think that was worded wrong. What do you do when you are feeling resentful because you keep giving your spouse his love language or hers, but they're not giving yours back? That's
And
probably the right
and that's a
question.
common thing,
Right.
right? And I would say your spouse is probably not doing that intentionally. You just have to talk about it, right?
You
Like it
have to
comes
talk about it.
back down to it.
Right.
And Amy and I have had tons of conversations. I know her love language, but sometimes I like just it for whatever reason, it goes
No.
off my mind, right? Like it
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
happen. And
normal.
I'm constantly trying to think, oh, I'm at the store. I should get her some raspberries. I know that's really important to her, right?
And that's
So
not going to come to your mind all the time. Like we have to train our minds to care. It really comes down to caring, right?
I will say this though, the more you're thinking about your spouse's love language, the more they're going to start thinking about yours. It just
Totally.
naturally happens, right? The
Right.
more I'm trying to think, oh, how can I show Amy that I love her today? Oh yeah, it's through this, this, and this. You know,
I feel loved. I'm going to go initiate or
absolutely.
touch him or whatever that looks like. Right.
Absolutely. And naturally, you're just going to start giving each other, giving each other, giving each other,
Right.
hopefully, and that's going to get better.
Okay, one more. I just wanted to end on this one. What daily habits help couples with opposite love languages feel emotionally and sexually connected? I'm just going to end that with look at this whole entire episode or topic as an opportunity to serve your spouse. The daily habit, I would say, is look at it as an opportunity to come closer to Christ and come closer to your spouse. When you learned mentally to just, I want to serve my spouse today, what does that look like? And you try to care about what that would look like to them, that changes. That's the habit. Waking up and thinking, how can I be a better spouse to my spouse? How can I show them love in love language changes everything.
And I would say, hitting on that, waking up and asking your spouse, hey, your day may look different
Mm-hmm.
today than it did yesterday or
Or
tomorrow.
mine.
Amy, what can I do today to show you that I just absolutely
Mm-hmm.
love you and want to serve you? What can I do for you today?
Yep.
She may say, hey, you know what? Dude, can you take care of dinner tonight? And can you do this? And can you do this? And like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
And
You know, and
Nick would say, will you initiate?
and every day might look a little different, but that's okay too. Maybe it's a daily thing like, hey, what can I do
Right.
to show you how much I love you today and serve you? And you ask each other that question, right? And she asked me that
Mm-hmm.
question. And I'm smart enough to recognize that every day is not going to be physical touch night, right? Like,
Right.
and I
Right.
can't have those expectations, but you know, every marriage is different. But if you truly care about each other,
Mm-hmm.
asking that question every morning
Mm-hmm.
or every night for the next day could be good.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
but we hope you enjoyed this podcast. We feel like this is an area that, man, if you can figure out the love languages and meeting your
Mm-hmm.
spouse's needs in this way, like that, it's just so important, and it'll do so many amazing things for your marriage and so many other. I'll have so many other ripple effects down for other things as well too. So,
Mm-hmm.
like Amy said, if you don't know your spouse's love language or your love language, go take the free quiz on the Ultimate Intimacy
Yep.
app and
Then jump on the
jump
conversations.
on and then start talking about it more
Right.
importantly, because it's one thing to know, and then it's another thing to start talking about it and
Mm-hmm.
having those conversations together.
Absolutely. Amen.
So, all right. Well, hope you enjoyed the podcast. Go check out our wonderful products at shop.ultimateintimacy.com. Holler if you have any questions. We appreciate you listening to the podcast. Please leave us a review if you feel comfortable doing so and you like the podcast. If you don't like the podcast, then don't leave us a review. So, and I'm just joking. Anyways,
Have a
until
great,
next time,
we
we
hope
hope
you
you find
find.
ultimate intimacy in your relationship. I was just pausing.